Those who have been resettled up to now are understandably relieved to have been given a new start to life. But there are thousands still living in the camps, and the issue of resettlement remains urgent. Resettlement and rehabilitation are just some of the concerns that we need to address as a country emerging from 3 decades of war and conflict. How important are issues like power sharing at this moment in Sri Lanka's history? According to some, now may in fact be the most appropriate time to look at ways in which Sri Lanka could move towards lasting peace through constitutional and political reform. We explore this issue further in our next report. Power sharing in Sri Lanka is a compilation of constitutional and political documents from the last 80 years that have had a significant bearing on the history of the conflict. The book was recently presented to the public at a launch event in Colombo.
There are those of us who very firmly believe that these proposals, and proposals no doubt yet to come, are going to be valid, distinctive contributions towards sustainable peace, reconciliation, and national unity in our country. That task continues, and we hope that even in some modest way, this volume and the commentaries by 4 key experts in Sri Lanka on constitutional reform will be able to inform and illuminate the debate and debates to come.
Edited by Rohan Edirisinghe, Mario Gomez, V.T. Tamilmaran and Asanga Velikala, the book contains important constitutional proposals and political ideas that have been a part of the many debates about power sharing and the Sri Lankan constitution. It consists of 51 documents dating back to the 1920s and early expressions of the federal idea, and covers areas such as the transition from colonial rule to independence, the emergence of separatism, the decentralization and self-determination debate, interim arrangements of the 2000s, Muslim perspectives, and finally the APRC process. The documents have been put in their historical and political context through commentaries by the editors. The book was reviewed at the launch by a panel of well-known commentators.
I don't want to critique the book for what it is not. I want to appreciate it and evaluate it for what it is. It contains most of the important texts which line this particular axis of north-south development or the north-south dynamic. And in doing that, the editors have performed an absolutely valuable intellectual, scholarly and social task for which they must be thanked and congratulated unequivocally. Having said that, I also noticed certain salient absences. I say once again, this is not to critique the book for what it does not purport to be, but to critique it on its own terms. There are certain texts that are absent, and I believe that those absences, as well as certain presences, certain interpretations, certain emphases in the introductions, are symptomatic of what I call the crisis of cosmopolitan liberalism in Sri Lanka.
Having traversed 80 years' journey, the editors then ask the soul-searching question, why a Sinhala majority government is still unable to deliver the promises of democracy. What these promises are have been identified. They are dignity, equality, freedom, justice, peace and prosperity. Who is to answer this soul-searching question? I do not know. I did not know if it was ever the intention of the organizers of this momentous event to expect me to answer. Perhaps more as a spectator who sees more of the game than the players in it, or as a Tamil simpliciter So I stand before you, ladies and gentlemen, as a Tamil simpliciter, Tamil man, ordinary Tamil man. I do not know if I can provide the answer. But one thing I do know, though not much publicly articulated, that the Tamils believe and feel that they are being treated as subject and not as citizen.
What is significant and what is well documented again in the book, though there may be lapses, is the emergence of the Muslim interest, right? The Muslim identity, that the aspirations of the Muslim community must also be met, because they suffered not only at the expense of the minority community in terms of discrimination, etc., but also at the hands of the LTT. They were driven from Jaffna, they were driven from the eastern province. So we have political parties like the SLMC taking up the cause of the Muslim community. And the Muslim community also have made a strong case that in whatever devolution that is going to be fashioned for the future of Sri Lanka, that the Muslim interest must be safeguarded. The Muslims have a voice, and their voice have to be heard.
Intellectuals behind this initiative hope that the single-volume compilation of proposals on power sharing and constitutional reform made over the years will be of contemporary and future relevance to those interested in understanding and taking the debate forward.